Hello, good morning, and welcome to LUG 2016. Yes, exactly, woot. So I got up this morning and was thinking, which happens occasionally, this is, in this moment, this is the 10th, this is the 10-year anniversary of me speaking at LUG. 10 years ago, in 2006, I was talking about this thing that we built at IU, and I got to the end of my talk, and somebody in the audience asked what interconnect we were intending to use. I answered, and that person just laughed hysterically at me. He was Mark Seeger. I was, terrified, intimidated. Because after all, he was the Mark Seeger. And so, I pestered him, and he said, well, look, between the break, I'll share some stuff with you. And he set me straight. He was willing to take time, effort, energy out to tell me, about my anal cranial convergence and how I could change that for the better of the project. And he was right. And so, I was thinking, well, this is the kind of community that we have. People they shoot straight. They talk straight. I was at Developer Day yesterday, and it was incredible to see developers with their heads down, working together, trying to solve problems. It was like that 10 years ago. I remember, Chris Moran and Brian Behlendorf, just like bristling with excitement about, trying to fix things, trying to fix bugs, write patches, make things better. That's the kind of community that this community is. We want to make things better. Better for ourselves as administrators or managers, and as users. So, I got in the shower and I got misty-eyed. I try to cry in the shower, right? Because I can't see the tears that way. I was bitten by a tear when I was a child. It was like the worst two weeks of my life. Thanks. Now that was better. God love you. I've known a good chunk of you guys for, 10 years. They're the Peters, Peter Bojanic, Peter Jones. Let's see, Brent Gorda, Andreas Dilger, all four Canadians. I'm not sure what that means exactly. Sort of stick-to-itiveness. I think of Andreas, probably the first time I met Andreas, all those guys, they're so polite. Andreas was really put to the test because I was at the Lustre internals class, the first one that was taught by Peter Brahm. And Andreas was trying to find like the most tactful way imaginable to interrupt his boss and say, boss, it doesn't really work like that anymore. It was beautiful. I mean, if I could be that tactful in my regular life, God, might make my way to middle management. So I guess what am I trying to say? One, I guess I'm really glad to be here. But more than that, in many ways, I'm glad that you're here. I believe in Lustre, and I want to see Lustre grow and continue. I guess what we've seen is the little file system that has become the big file system that has. And with that, rock on. So I'm going to talk a little bit, more or less, kind of an overview of stuff. It's an advertisement. There it is. Choose Lustre. It's a little faded. My commitment has not faded. So let's rock. Well, so imagine that's your hard disk on your desktop machine. This is what Lustre provides you. And this is really for the sake of you that don't know Lustre that well. I mean, for those of you that are old hand, you've probably either seen these slides, you know, you can take a snooze. This is how, you know, we move data before Lustre. Yeah, Seeger talked me out of this sort of, you know, ass transport. Sorry, mule transport. So it's also fast. You can push crazy bandwidth with Lustre. You know, your file system is capable of supporting lots of clients. It's open. So that means that free like beer, right? Wait for it. No, it's free like a puppy. And so, you know, I mean, I'm going to pause here for a moment. Lustre takes a lot of work, you know, behind the scenes. And what does that entail? Well, you got to fix the bugs. You got to test it. Maybe testing is what pointed the bugs out to you. And then once you think you fixed them, you have to test again. You want Lustre to do something different than what it's doing now, or something cooler. Well, you have to develop a feature, so you need a plan of some kind. You want people to evaluate that plan. Again, coding, testing. Amid all of this, you know, there are pesky users that want to know how to use these features that, you know, developers think are cool. I don't know. I don't think I've ever met an engineer that really likes writing documentation. He's probably out there, but you got to host it somewhere, and that means, you know, care, feeding, maintenance, 24-hour uptime. And then, you know, all this stuff needs to be reviewed by people who you trust to review stuff. A lot of work. So, what's the take home? Well, many hands make excuse me, light work. We need you. If not to join the party, then, you know, at least to make snarky comments. Most of this slide is blank because I'm about to disturb you ocularly. That's my dad. No. This is what happens to open source projects that get you know, a lot of enthusiasm for about 5 minutes and get pushed off to GitHub. You know, somebody goes, man, I've got this great idea, edible hats. It's the thing, you know, like a pizza with the sort of half melon on the top, you know. And then it's over. And then, you know, the project, which may have been a great idea yesterday, either languishes or somebody's come up with a better idea. Well, Lustre, you know, Lustre is constantly pushing forward. When we moved from Oracle, there was a hiccup, but we're trying really hard to do 2 major releases a year. That's the goal. Sims, you're proselytizing. Okay. I mean, how fast can I take these slides? How many of you are new to Lustre? Bueller? Well, okay. I'll talk to you afterwards. This is stuff you know. Lustre, parallel, distributed, used by most of the top 100 machines on top 500. You've got a tripartite model, client, MDS, OSS. OSS is where your data lives. MDS is where your metadata lives. One of the cool things about Lustre is that you can sort of separate the small IOs from the big IOs. So these days, you know, you can add multiple metadata servers. Thanks. My time is running down, so I'll. Do you really think it's going to take that long? OK. Anyway, so you know, for those of you not familiar with the lingo, you have an MDS, a metadata server. Attached to the metadata server is an MDT, a metadata target, or LUN. Object storage servers, part of what makes it scalable is that you can just slap on more servers with more storage. I love the word infinite in this context. It's infinitely scalable. Not really, but it sounds cool. So basically, this is what your simplest Lustre system might look like with an MDS and an OSS with multiple OSTs. But you know, I mean, I really want to cut right to the chase. One of the things that I think that's coolest about Lustre is file striping. You, the user, can sort of determine how you want to lay out your file rights. With work that's going on, you know, you're going to have lots of different file layout options coming soon to a theater near you. I think Andreas is going to be talking a little bit about that. All right, so I'm not going to bore you any further. Choose Lustre. You probably already have. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your aunts, uncles, cousins, brothers, sister. So do yourself a favor, and let's see what we can do to get more people on the case so that we can, you know, proceed with more development. Anyway, yeah, all right. You didn't see that? Vacation picture in Japan. Thank you for your time, your kind attention.